The term colorism has been used to describe the situation in which someone is stereotyped or prejudiced based off the tone of their skin, in addition to whatever stereotypical ideas are already associated with the race in question. The question is, who does colorism affect, and how did it even start?
Well, the short answer to that question is that colorism affects everyone. Colorism has different degrees of impact in various parts of the world, including India, some South American countries like Brazil, and of course Black people in America. Beyond even just blacks on the whole, colorism has a particularly strong impact on Black women. The amount of prejudiced behaviors that Black have to tolerate due to their skin color is overwhelming. Colorism, discrimination based on skin color, is apparent in our culture, disadvantaging people of darker skin tones. To that end, Black women are far more likely to be aware of the phenomenon of colorism than others, and are extremely more likely to be negatively impacted by it, even when compared to their male counterparts. Black women face just about every negative stereotype associated with Black men, in addition to their own host of problems to overcome.
There is also a fundamental difference in how men and women tend to view themselves in terms of being successful, and this correlates strongly to the reasons that skin tone drastically impacts Black men and women so differently. In general, darker skin tones for men are associated with stereotypes of dangerousness, criminality, and incompetence. Because of this, colorism tends to affect Black men more in terms of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is basically the belief that one has control over their own behaviors and outcomes, and that they can determine their own ability to progress in life. Many employers view darker-skinned African American men as violent, uncooperative, dishonest, and unstable, thus leading employers to exclude darker men from employment. Research has found that for every dollar earned by light-skinned African Americans, their darker-skinned counterparts earned only 72 cents. The societal pressure to be a breadwinner is incredibly strong in males, and this is no different in the Black community. Thus, being less likely to be hired, and on average earning less money, can lead to feelings of incompetence in darker-skinned Black men. Conversely, lighter-skinned Black males have an easier time finding work, but also moving up the economic ladder due to their perceived less threatening nature. While it is the norm that the darker skin of the pair usually gets the worst end of most social situations, there is one instance where the script is flipped. Within Black communities, there is often heavy emphasis placed on acting and being Black, and asserting one's Blackness. In this regard, darker-skinned males often have less need to continually reassert their Blackness. Of course, when being Black often means speaking and acting a certain way that is perceived as less educated, is that really a benefit? It has been and arguably still is the case that Blackness is not simply the inverse of whiteness. Since the beginning of European exploration in the 15th century, Blackness has represented a negation of those qualities associated with civilization, morality, and beauty. And this all applies to Black women as well. If a light-complexioned person is seen as being more white or less Black, this may grant access to opportunities that further increase their likelihood of being successful.
Black women already face problems of racism and sexism, and when these two negative status positions combine, being Black and being female, a triple threat lowers self-esteem and feelings of confidence among dark Black women. In early studies, dark-skinned women were seen as occupying the bottom rungs of the social ladder, least marriageable, having fewer options for higher education and career advancement, and as more color conscious. And the difference in how colorism affects women, especially in modern society, is that it tends to impact their self-esteem, which is largely related to attractiveness.
I remember a time when I too felt unbeautiful. I put on the TV and only saw pale skin. I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. And my one prayer to God, the miracle worker, was that I would wake up lighter-skinned.
In the United States in particular, color bias for women can be traced back to slavery, when slave owners would give preferential treatment to slaves with a lighter skin tone. Slaves with darker skin tones worked in the fields, while lighter-skinned slaves typically worked in the house. The slaves with lighter skin were seen as closer to white due to the fact that many were offspring of the slave owner and slave. In the myth of the Jezebel Mammy, the Jezebel was seen as a fair-skinned, sexually desirable woman, while the darker-skinned Mammy is seen as the opposite. These stories and perceptions contribute to the idea that lighter or white skin is superior. The association of light skin and beauty can have a negative effect on the female's self-esteem and how she compares herself to the world. The media and society as a whole place a high value on the importance of beauty and self-image. Oftentimes we see a small representation of Black women in media, and even when Black women are represented, it's typically by women on the lighter side of the skin tone spectrum.
The positive glow generated by physical attractiveness includes a host of desirable personality traits. Included in these positive judgments are beliefs that attractive people would be significantly more intelligent, kind, confident, interesting, sexy, assertive, poised, modest, and successful, and to appear to have higher self-esteem and self-worth. With society forming the standard of beauty around Caucasoid features, it only makes it that much harder for darker women to gain any of these benefits.
But perhaps worst of all is how colorism affects black children, making even preschool children aware of color differences. There is evidence that gender differences on how important skin color is to attractiveness appears during childhood. Girls as young as 6 are twice as likely as boys to be sensitive to the social importance of skin color. When young girls see that they do not have the face color or hair type as what is viewed as beautiful, they are left to wonder where they fit in on society's beauty scale.
Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll?
Will we ever love the skin we're in?